Greetings, greetings. It's me, Lorene, and I'm here on Find You Fridays. Oh my gosh, what a week it has been. What can I say? We have a lot to share. Hello, Melinda. Hello, my dear. How are you? How has your week treated you? I shall put it this way. Tamara, how have your week treated you this week? Good evening. I hope it's been kind to you. Or if not been kind to you, you've been kind to yourself. Oh, gosh. Ginger and peppermint tea today. Just so good. So good for my belly. Good for my soul. But sleep deprived from the full moon energies. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't really notice the full moon energies so much with everything else going on. So, but yeah, now that I think about it, but then again, I also had craft class last night. So full moon energies were kind of like, they were probably there, to be fair, because even after I came home from craft class, I didn't really feel like going to sleep. So I was up for quite some time. But yes, it's all fun and games. Tamara, it's been not too bad. Last week of school holidays, so lots of family time. Looking forward to Monday for some solo downtime. Yes, so here in South Australia, we still got 1 week to go. They're only halfway through at the moment, so they still got 1 week. Hi, Amanda. Hello, beautiful one. Oh dear. So some of you may have seen, some of you may have not seen. I've had a bit of a big week. It's, as you probably will have gathered, because you guys are very intuitive, wonderful beings. Things have been brewing for a little bit, and of course I knew that they were brewing as well. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. And there was a really fascinating moment that happened. But before I get to that, I wanted to share with you the book that I've been sort of lightly, like, just touching on. And it is this one here. It's Polyvagal Practices by Deb Dana. And it's about anchoring the self in safety. So in here, they talk about the polyvagal system, which is basically how your body, your nervous system is, and how it reacts to different things, which is called the autonomic system, I think is what they call it. And so what they've done is they've actually turned it into like a ladder type situation. And in this book, there's loads of practices and things that I'm going to be diving more into as I continue on in my journey. They talk about mapping and like your emotional system listening, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so there's the polyvagal practices. Anyway, because I've been working with a holistic counselor who recommended that book to me before I even went for my first session with her, just asking for something that's going to help support me through this next stages of my life and this next series of healing, because she's an intuitive holistic counselor as well, and who specializes a bit in trauma and things like that. She knew what I needed, and she let me intuitively guide myself. She recommended 4 books, and that was the second one. The first one I'm already very familiar with, which is this little beastie. It was so funny because when I actually went for my first session with her 3 weeks ago, she was just like, well, actually, I use those practices all the time. Hi, Edwina. So if any of you out there are struggling with just not feeling right within yourself and feeling a little bit like on edge a lot, I've spoken heaps this year about the cortisol and what that does when it's in high doses into your system. In some ways, it's a great painkiller, but it's not great for the rest of you to be there consistently. And one of the things that this book talks about is the polyvagal ladder. And so because I couldn't wait for my book to arrive, I turned around and because I'd listened to the book, and then I just listened straight through without doing any of the practices. And then I was like, I feel like I have to write out this polyvagal ladder thingy for myself. So I did some Googling and put a bunch of shit together because that's what I do. And anyway, so I came out with this. And what we have here is my version of a polyvagal ladder. So you've got your ventral vagal, which is where you're like nice and light and happy. You feel safe and you're social and you're engaged and you're calm and affectionate and playful and you're creative and you're sort of like, you just feel really integrated into your life and your body and everything feels fantastic. Polyvagal Practices. Okay. By Deb Dana, Debdana. She's got a couple of different books, a couple of things on Audible. I listened to the 3-hour one, which matches up with that. Anyway, so when we're in our ventral vagal system, up here, everything's like feeling nice and light and smooth and fun and exciting and, all that good stuff. When we hit the sympathetic vagal system, which is this middle section here, this is where we get into things like fight and flight. We might get mobilized. So if you imagine like when you get angry and shit gets done really fast, I don't know about you guys, but when I get in previous partnerships, if I got really, really angry, my housework would get done really fast. Everything would get done really, really quick. And what I realize now is that because I was angry, I had dropped down into my sympathetic vagal system, which is where fight and flight comes from. And of course, anger is your fight mechanism. And it's also where anxiousness steps in. You might get a bit agitated or frantic. You might get defensive and aggressive in the sympathetic system. So it's really fascinating to then, once you start getting educated and aware of how this works, this ladder works, you start seeing, oh, wow, when I was in that situation, oh, shit, I actually went into my sympathetic system. Oh, geez, when I was down here in the dorsal system, shit, I can see why I reacted that way now. Oh, wow. Okay. So your dorsal system, this is where you are immobilized, where you just feel like you can't do anything. And I think I might have spoken to you guys last week about the lady I had watched open up her garage and just stand there and look at it for like a good few minutes, just doing nothing, just looking. And she was absolutely 100% immobilized. She couldn't fathom how on earth she was going to be able to work through her clutter, that all her possessions that were in the garage. There weren't huge amounts, but they were just cluttered and unorganized. But her brain literally couldn't do it. And it's because she was going between sympathetic, which is also where being a control freak, neat freak, pedanticness, OCD, all of that sits in the sympathetic. And then she was hovering between that and that, where she was going, and then she'd be like, bleh, I can't think. I can't brain right now. So that's the freeze and the fawn. That's your dorsal. It's where you feel collapsed and numb, overwhelmed, depressed, hopelessness, disassociation. It's also when people get down into dorsal, that's where, the permanent solution to a temporary problem starts popping into the brain, into the thought process rather. So it's been fascinating to really look at how each of these stages flows and functions. And once I started looking at this, and the rest of this over here is like what moves me out of here. So that's to this part here coming up. What moves me out of here to help me go upwards, and what helps me stay here. What sort of things will help me to stay up in my ventral vagal system. And right down at the bottom, I had a moment to embellish because there was a bit of a smudge that happened here. So I turned it into a Christmas tree because Christmas trees make me feel really happy. And I thought putting that right down at the dorsal is actually perfect, because it's like, remember, Christmas trees and all their lights, they make you feel really happy. Remember that, especially when you're down here. And then I said, this is not the end. Breathe. You've got this. And then the other one I wrote was, you are the gift of peace in your life. I love you. So I've written those couple of little messages to me to go, it's okay to move back up. And because in the book, she talks about mapping, and this particular map here, or this here, gets used in a few different ways. So what I've done is I've done this, and then I've taken photocopies of it, and that will then become my worksheets of how I'll continue to work with them. But anyway, so that's that. I wanted to show you that. And because I have been getting myself not organized, but I'm becoming more aware, there's that door cracking open moment, that moment where it's like, oh geez, now I'm actually saying to the universe, saying to my higher self, I'm ready to see it now. I'm ready to see why things are so different in certain areas of my life. And with that, I started to, and I have, some of you may know that I don't journal very much. I used to as a kid, and then my privacy was very much encroached upon by my mum. And she quite proudly went and told my best friend at the time's parents that she had done so while I was away. And luckily I'd taken my diary and everything with me, but she was looking for it. And I didn't feel safe to write down my thoughts anymore. And so I turned them into poetry. And so that's really where my poetry book started from, was because I still required an outlet of expressing myself, expressing my emotions, expressing what is going on. And so I'll come back to that in a minute, Amanda. So I actually stopped diary writing. And the only times that I've really done sort of any journaling was when I was doing specific challenges, like, you know, so many days, the 30-day gratitude challenge, or those sorts of things where it's been a specific reason for doing it, and then I'll journal. I did try on and off over the years to do little bits and pieces, but I just couldn't stick to it. And I felt too much pressure. And then I felt, particularly if I was in a relationship, oh my God, what if they read my diary? Because that just then activated me from all of that shit from my mum. And I was just like, oh my God. So I haven't been doing diary stuff for a long, long time. Not really. And I just knew that with this new healing journey, I had to write stuff down, because it was one of the crucial things that happened at the end of my first marriage when everything completely imploded. I wrote stuff down, and it was messy, and it was not nice. It didn't make sense, a lot of it. It was very much intuitive writing. It was just verbal mind dump diarrhea onto the page. And I did find that exercise book, I think about maybe a couple of years later, and I was just reading it going, oh my fucking God, what the hell was going on with my mind? No wonder I needed stuff to help me sleep, because it was not good. So that was where I was very much functioning between dorsal and sympathetic, like very much. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to look at that. When I started learning about that, reading about that, next thing you know, I'm seeing in these videos in my YouTube about this guy who goes and sits with dogs in like the kennels and stuff. And very quickly, I could identify dogs that were in their sympathetic system and moved into their ventral vagal versus dogs who were in their dorsal system, their dorsal vagal system, and were very reluctant to even move up to their sympathetic system. And it's like those dogs who are in dorsal would take a lot more time, a lot more time. Whereas the ones who are in sympathetic or just hovering in the sympathetic line were able to move up reasonably easily. And he was able to help them, like give them treats, and they would eat their treats. But the ones that were in dorsal wouldn't even take a treat. They'd look at it, they might sniff at it, and then just go, because they were just gone. They're totally disassociated from their body. And that's what people are like. So Amanda, anger and anxiousness, that's sympathetic. That's a lot of sympathetic system. So you haven't been working from the bottom. You've been mid-rung. So Amanda also says, when your mum finds your diary, that's when I learned that hiding feelings and emotions was the best way to get through. Isn't that just so sad? And what an invasion of privacy. It's like you've got to have places and spaces to be able to express yourself freely and not have and know that your parents are not going to be looking through that, and work on the verbal relationship with the parents to their kids. Work on the verbal relationship so that you can not feel like you have to go snooping, that the kids trust you and feel safe enough with you that they will talk with you. Like, duh. Maybe this is just enlightened me talking here. I don't know. Melinda, yes, I can totally relate to that. I stopped when I realized my mum and sister were reading mine, and probably why I haven't felt comfortable doing one since. Amanda came back with, yes, I know now, not the best, but the only way I could get through my own stuff without judgment or feel like I had expectations of myself. Indeed. And because the stuffing down of emotions, which I can totally relate to, it pushed you into your sympathetic system because you didn't feel safe. You didn't feel safe to express yourself on a page because the page is great. It doesn't judge you. It just receives it, right? It just holds space. That's it. The page doesn't judge, but the people who read it do. And that's the hardest part. So anyway, I started my healing journey journal, and it was so funny because my friend, I started it a couple of days before I went to see her for the first time, and she goes, seeing as you're a keen journaler, and I'm like, I'm actually not, but this process is really important, and I got the sense that if I write stuff down, it's going to be a lot easier for me and for me to process through. And so many, oh my gosh, so many like things have opened up. And she gave me 3 journal prompts, which 2 of them I filled out. The third one, it's kind of like it opened the door to the processes that came through this week. And to make to help this, like I've already spoken to you guys about being the mystic and stuff like that. So what I began to realize is the places where I feel safe and secure and I can express myself easily and stuff. My workplace was fine. My friendships were fine, but relationships were the area where I was going a bit wonky. And as I was saying to another friend of mine, like, this is the stuff I've been working on, because they asked, how are you? And they already knew that I was sort of energetically working through some stuff. And I said to them that I was working through stuff, you know, I'd sort of realized some stuff around family and that, oh no, not family, with relationships. And then I realized, I've identified work, friendships, relationships, myself, but I hadn't put family in there. And that's when I sort of picked apart that a little bit more. And I realized that I had a belief system that family isn't safe for me. And because of lots of things, like so family to me is in this context is like my first family, my siblings, my parents, grandparents, people like that. And it's not all of them, it's just the bulk majority of them. So I call it my first family. So it's not like my half siblings or my well, actually, technically, that's not true by one. But anyway, or my cousins. But unfortunately, it does include my aunties. And that they judged me, criticized me, or ignored me, used me to be their scapegoat or slave. And because of some other personal stuff, they were always watching me to be like a bad influence on their. So this is where the aunties and stuff came in. They were watching me to be, if I was going to be a bad influence on their kids. They rejected me, and they weren't there for me financially the way that they are for my brothers. Like that's my mum and stuff like that. So family for me meant hurt, rejection, heartache, abandonment, isolation, and emotionally marooned. It also meant that I overcompensated in areas which became people-pleasing to try and prove that I am lovable, that I am not a threat, that I am, I've just got this big heart and I wish to love people and share stuff and know things and stuff like that. So when you have that in the mix, right, and then partners become family, And then in my little wonderful brain, it goes, well, family isn't safe, so therefore partners aren't safe because partners are family. So the belief system that I created was that physically close family hurt me emotionally, mentally, in my heart, so that I must protect myself and don't let my guard down too much. Family is not safe. And basically that all cropped up on Tuesday. Tuesday, the week just gone. By Wednesday morning, it was cracking wide open, and I was on my way to work, and I called my boss, and I was just like, you know, I might be able to get through today. And he's like, you don't sound good. Would you like to take a mental health day today too? We can just rearrange things. It's no big deal. And I'm like, oh, okay, that would be amazing. Driving down the freeway, bawling my eyes out. So I still haven't quite answered this question for myself yet. But then I was like, partners become family. So a bit like the chicken and the egg, which one came first? Do I attract that which resonates, that vibration of unsafe? Or do I look for every instance that does match that vibration? And the ego inside of me goes, see, I told you that they would let you down. You can't trust them. You can't trust your choices either. So in comes the self-doubt, which then pushes me down into my sympathetic vagal system, right? And so we then just end up on this big, huge fucking loop. And I find it harder and harder to find the good things, to talk about the good things to do with that person. And as I was moving through this, I realized, number one, I had to prepare. I had to get myself some comfort food, and without judgment, comfort food. I picked up potatoes, I picked up pumpkin, and then I picked up a whole bunch of sweets and biscuits and chips and eggs and just a lot of stuff that was going to help pull me through. And so carbs, basically. I made sure I had all the stuff for a bath set up and ready to go. So I had my salts, I had my lavender, I had rose smell stuff, bubble bath. I got my theta healing tools together and had to put my hand on my heart and be present. So while I was standing at the supermarket, because I swung by the supermarket before I went home, I was standing there and I started shaking, like the shock shakes, as I call them. My body was already starting to process, and it was, the energy was already moving, and it was making me feel very uncomfortable, and I was shaking. And I didn't want to look at anybody, so it was great because this particular supermarket's got self-serve, so I did not have to talk to a single soul, which was perfect in that moment. I turned off all of the alarms. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I made sure I had tissues and water, and I gave myself permission to have a nap after I'd done some work. Then I identified a whole bunch of people that I have felt rejected by. Then looked over that list again, and this was all family stuff. It was not partners. It was just family, because I realized that's where the core issues was coming from, is from this family stuff. Then I looked at the resentment, and I went through and I muscle tested them all again for resentment. And then I started looking at the belief stuff, and I've got this big, beautiful body of work from a course that I did back in 2021 that uses theta healing as a basis. And I identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 beliefs that were running, additional to the one that I've already mentioned. And I went through and I was like, okay, we've got to work on these. We've got to clear them. And so for the first day, so on Wednesday, I went through and I did my rejected list, had a cup of tea, because by that stage, it was rough. She was rough. Then I did my resentment list, which was less, but there was still some there. And then I did 2 of the belief systems. And I realized I couldn't completely get rid of the initial belief system that I realized I had until I had done all this other work. And I can tell you right now, it was, when I say it was rough, this energy was moving through my body in such a way that my throat felt ripped up, because it was like, oh, you know, it was like just coming out of me, and I was crying, and it was snotty, and it was like my hips, my back, my stomach had been just pummeled. Even my thighs a little bit, the tops of my thighs, because of course we hold a hell of a lot of emotional energy in our hips, our gut, our back. And it was, I felt very, very tenderized, especially after 2 days straight of doing it. But here's the thing. I was supported the whole time by an incredible spirit team. So in my spirit team, I had Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Hestia, my dad, my granddad, my dad's parents, and my daughter. And the 9 of them surrounded me for the entire 2 days. And at the end of the 2 days, I was told that part of the reason why I had this last relationship was to show me where I needed to get really clear, where I required to get very, very clear about what doesn't work for me. Because I was kind of just floundering around and just hoping everything would be okay, you know? And what I've realized is that in the past, my habit as a functioning / recovering people pleaser is I would see the red flags, and then I would try to either pretend that they didn't exist and call it allowance and then get resentful of them, or try to encourage the person to change them to suit me, or I would just say nothing and just swallow that, the fact that it didn't work for me. And so one of the things that my team said to me is, okay, this is great. You've got these, what you know, because like I'm sure you guys have all done it. The whole writing your ideal attributes list, or this is my most compatible partner and these are the things that they'll have, and it's all nice and light and fluffy and airy and all that sort of stuff. It's all positive things. But have you ever written a deal breakers list? I haven't. And I think as somebody who is a recovering people pleaser, who is mostly secure, but I have this little tiny bit of anxiousness that sits in there, a deal breakers list is really fucking important. And that if you're in the dating world or whatever, and you've got this list in place, anybody who does those things, you just go, oh, bye. There's no allowance for it. There's no activation of people pleasing. There's no denying of yourself and what actually works for you. And one of the things is, for me, is that the person can no longer disrupt my internal peace. If they come into my world, they've got to increase my internal peace, not disrupt it. So that means I have to trust them. That means I've got to feel safe with them. And if I don't have those two elements, that's going to disrupt my internal peace. Therefore, goodbye. All right? Yes, Tamara, fantastic. So I'm just I'll pause on that for a moment just so I don't get too far. Amanda said, I had the same experience with my boss within a heartache I was going through. I was amazed in it and took it to knowing people understand if I share. Yes, exactly. Now, my boss is not a woo-woo person, but he is married with two female children. So I think he's a beautiful millennial. So I think he gets a little bit more of this sort of emotional development stuff and the need for space. And Amanda said, family, hey, you can't choose them. Well, most likely we did. Definitely the learning comes from, yes. There's a lot of things that I'm incredibly grateful for my family. Also, all of that healing work that I've just spoken about, I made sure that I also directed it through all my lifetimes, dimensions, realities, and non-realities, so that I can ensure that the work that I am doing right here, right now, penetrates outwards throughout all of the beautiful parts and pieces of me. Because it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I know that a big part of what we're doing in this lifetime is healing the stuff from other lifetimes. So there's that. It's also the ripple effect throughout all of my familial lines this lifetime. Tamara, I made a whole vision board to call in my ideal mate. My deal breakers list is ongoing in my head. My ex was a very big lesson in this. Yes, but write it down. Highly recommend it, because it's not until you write it down that you realize, like, if you're in a corporate situation or a business owner, right, you have a list of policies and procedures. And one of those things, well, one of the aspects of that is you have a list there that says these things will create, if you choose to do these things, it's instant dismissal. So we do that in business, but why don't we do it in our own lives? Well, that's because as a recovering people pleaser, we're not allowed to have an instant dismissal list. That's just unfathomable, because that means that I'm not liked. That means I'm the bad person. That means that I'm a bitch. And as a people pleaser, that's the last thing you want to be. You want to be liked. You want everybody to have time for you. You want to be loved. And if you are constantly making people like sit on your, like it just even trying to fathom letting someone go, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I have been in that position of going, I have tried everything. I have done the things. I have been pushy. I have been silent. I've been over backwards. I've been all the things. There's the song, I think it's called Labor by Paris Paloma. I have been that in so many relationships and still not got anywhere, because I didn't value myself enough to write my deal breakers list for my personal relationships. Now, I say that specifically because in work, no problem. Friendships, no problem. Even more recently with the family stuff, or recently, I mean like some years ago, it was like, do you know what? You guys are assholes. That's my deal breaker. You guys are just assholes. I don't want to be around you guys anymore. You're mean to me. You're horrible. And I don't wish to be there. Like, why would I choose to keep trying to make connections with people who are so fucking horrible? I'm not choosing that. And I don't have to. So, they reached that point with me where I couldn't take it anymore. But this personal relationship thing was still a bit funky. So I now have the beginnings of my deal breakers list. And I'm so glad that they are there. And as I was writing them down, I was just like, fuck yeah, I feel really empowered now. I feel like standing solidly within myself, loving myself and my space, and also feeling a lot more like I can do this moving forward. So I've also got the deal makers list. I haven't written anything on that yet because that's been written out so many times already. I'm like, just refer to previous lists. So I did write a poem today, but I will say that later. I think we've had enough of that conversation for now. So yeah, safe to say it's been a big journey, and I'm very grateful for it. And it's been good. It's been good. Rough, bloody rough. But I did get to have my bath yesterday, and I went out to craft class last night and had a lovely time creating with other women and making some cards and just chilling out, doing some nice things for me. And then when my work car was getting serviced today, I took myself down to the beach and sat there and just enjoyed the waves and went for a little walk. But it was too bloody cold, and I hadn't brought a warm enough jacket and stuff. So I was like, I was being a bit of a wuss. And then I turned around and went back to the car. But I got some fresh air into my lungs, and it was good. For me, going into a new relationship after so many failed interactions, I just knew in my heart and my soul I was a writer that I wasn't a writer back then, but you are now. It's funny how things can change, hey? Anyway, so on a slightly lighter note, I know I said to you guys that I finished my blanket, but I didn't show you. I've managed to pull it off my bed to show you. Let me get the front of it rather than the back of it. And here we go. There is the blanket. Isn't it cool? And I can't even show you all of it because it is so big. It's big enough for a queen size blanket, queen size bed. And I had so much fun creating it. And I don't know... if you're curious, if you are a needle worker and you're wondering what the back looks like, this is what the back looks like. So if I flatten it out a bit more, there we go. So there we go. That's what the back looks like. It's quite flat. And while the front has got some like texture and a little bit of texture to it, these seams are not, that's just a single crochet, but it's not like really super like sticking out. Because of how I've done it. So I'm so happy with how it's all turned out. And I don't know if I can find the spot where it's my inspiration or my what is it, feature piece, because it's so bloody heavy. Let me see. Where are you, my friend? Probably at the bottom is my guess. No, I can't find it. It's too heavy. Oh, dear. But there is one panel that looks a bit different from all the rest. There it is. don't know if I can really explain to you guys just how bloody heavy this thing is. It is. Oh dear. So there we go. We have our one feature panel right there. And it's got all the colors. It's got the green and the blue and the yellow and the multicolor and the orange and the white. It's all there. So, and it's lovely and it's warm. And I had a good nap this afternoon underneath it, and it was just perfect. I had the sun streaming in the window. I have to say that's one of my things that is, I feel like is a real luxury to me, is living in a house where the sunlight streams into my bedroom in the afternoon, particularly on winter, like for spring, so autumn, winter, spring, particularly those months, and I can take an afternoon nap with the sun over me, and it just feels great. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, as you can see, each panel is very big. Here's my hand. And I think it has stretched a little bit since I have made it, which is fine because that's what I was expecting it to do anyway. So yeah. This has been wonderful. I was so glad that I made that for myself, and that I went through the journey of trying to get all the balls of wool, or yarn, as I should say. All right, we're hearing the ding-a-ling-a-lings, which means that we have people paying for session or contributions, which I'm incredibly grateful for. Wow. Okay. Cool. So let me get, so that's a bit of lightheartedness for you. Oh, crochet. I haven't, until I did that one, I haven't actually picked up a crochet hook in about 3 years. And the journey with that particular pattern was quite intense. But I'm really glad I did it. Really, really glad. And it was so soothing during this last few months. And yeah, 12th to the 18th. So yes, this lovely full moon energy, right? It's been it has been pretty bloody intense. So let's see what the flower cards, the language of flower cards, have to say for this week to come for us all, because like, thank goodness we're over the full moon, and well, we're in the shadow period of the full moon now. But I also know that we have planetary-wise, shuffle first, finish shuffling. We've had something happen with Uranus or however you want to say it. I can't remember if I took screenshots. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. If not there, maybe I sent it to myself, maybe. Nope, I didn't. I'm sorry. There's some very specific stuff that's coming up planetary-wise. I know where I can find it, because I have some very beautiful people in my world. Okay, let me just quickly find it. I'm sorry. Should have been more prepared, but let's just say I was snotty and crying and getting my stuff done. All right, so here we go. So Uranus is the great disruptor. The energy of Uranus is a bit like lightning. You're not really sure when it's going to strike, and you don't know exactly where either. But its electrical charge will be swift, strong, and undeniable. Yep. Uranus energy creates sudden, unexpected, and unanticipated change. It's been in the sign of Taurus for 7 years, making itself felt in all of the Taurus areas: our health, how we make money, how money works, how we build security, our natural environment, resources, and our material stability. So if that makes sense for the last 7 years, if you sort of do a quick review in your head of your money situations, your health situations, the environment, resources, all of that sort of stuff, and you kind of go, oh, yeah, I can see how there's been some big shifts. Things that were in a certain way 7 years ago certainly are not that way anymore. So all of that got shaken up with the COVID-19, the lockdowns, the digital currency, the biggest transfer of wealth in modern history, economic pressures and recession, and the global events that have put significant strain on the movement of everyday goods like basic food and building supplies. The next 7 years will be centered around Gemini themes: how we communicate, share ideas, share and analyze information, how we learn and educate ourselves. Gemini energy highlights our duality and contradictions, where we are stuck in black and white thinking, and challenging us to honor and respect polarity. Uranus comes to disrupt and awaken very Gemini areas of our lives for the next 7 years. Think phone networks, internet libraries, social media, news, books, freedom of conscience and speech, schools, universities, AI, contracts, mental health systems. Uranus's unpredictable nature could show up in how we argue and debate subjects, how we form and interact with social groups, our intellectual capacity, mental health, as well as how we are able to move around. Nothing moves this world faster than the movement of people with information. So think how this transit will likely affect travel. Of course, nobody really knows how, where, or when Uranus's influence will strike, but it always creates significant change when it does. Life as we have known it is about to change very quickly. So as it says in summary, the mental revolution is coming and it will change everything. So that write-up, of course, was done by my very dear friend Chanel, who's up with the play on all of that sort of stuff. I grew up saying Uranus, and I don't know if it's an American influence, but we now say Uranus, and I'm just like, I don't know. I think maybe too many teachers got tired of kids cacking themselves saying Uranus. Sorry, yeah. All right. All right. So what we've got here is this beautiful, the language of flowers cards. And I have to laugh because lavender has been a big feature of my last couple of days, and it's the very first card that's come up. So the lavender is about cleansing. So it's an indication that all is well or heading that way. So you should be able to see an improvement soon if you are seeking it. This is also a time of relaxation, blessed solitude, and purification. So take the opportunity to cleanse away what you no longer need or want. Devotion, serenity, grace, and trust are all also associated with lavender. So you will find you may need to focus on emotional equilibrium and spiritual sensitivity. Okay? So just be aware of that for this next week. You might feel like it's okay to take a breath and rest a little, but also don't be surprised if you suddenly get a massive urge to do a big old cleanup. All right. We've got Edelweiss, which is our next one, which is dedication. There is The opportunity to work with more focus and more dedication on projects associated with your life purpose and things that you are really passionate about in general. It is time also to learn from past mistakes. Something you may have been working on for a long time or have been wanting to begin could gain a boost or a sudden new interest or facet to it. Educational and learning experiences are worthwhile looking into at present, as new directions and brighter new horizons are on offer if the groundwork is undertaken properly. So a bit like what I was doing this week, like I did my prep. Before I started, I made sure I had all the supports around me, and also, you know, a couple of people knew what was happening, what was coming through, what was going to be happening, and so they were kind of not necessarily on standby, but kind of on standby. So it was like when I needed that moment of just going, oh, they were there to support, which was beautiful. So do your groundwork, but don't be surprised if stuff starts popping up into your world going, actually, and it could be my sharing of this book tonight. That could be the beginnings of you having some new stuff coming into your world, some little bit of educational stuff coming into your world. Or it might be a big thing, maybe something you've pushed to the side for a little while that you've kind of gone, actually, that feels like it might be the time to do it now. Maybe your tax return comes in and you go, woohoo, I can afford it. For the collective, our third card is strength, which is the wild sunflower. Courage and strength are very connected with the wild sunflower. Let's get some transliteration running, please. Which means these energies are around if you need them. If you need to rely on them, they will pull you through. Happiness and a turn in fortune are also indicated. Confidence and outward identity are in focus, and if they need attention right now, you will find a boost in these areas. A new resolution comes to light, so you may obtain something much sought after. So I would have to say the reading for the week to come is like you're able to take a bit of a breath, but also you're going to have renewed vigoration towards your projects this week. And like just going to feel stronger, and like you can actually move forward, which is a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. And I know that a lot of us have really been feeling things like all these planetary changes and the moons and just the collective in general upgrading and having the empathic awareness of all of the grief that is going on right now, from both those who are doing the spiritual work as well as like all of the other political stuff going on around the world. We're all feeling it. And sometimes it's nice to just... But this week, I actually feel like you maybe have breathed enough and that you're actually going to feel like doing some things this week. It's like the clutter that's been around, or those little areas that you've just kind of let go a bit manky, are now going to get done. The project that's been sitting on the shelf for a little bit, it's like, actually, I think I'll go and grab that and get that out and start playing with that now. Maybe it's a case of you haven't caught up with any friends for a while, and social interaction is actually really important. So it's like, oh, cool. Now I've actually got some energy. I've got some, like it says, the confidence to go out and see people again. Yay. So yeah, I get the sense that this week's going to be a little bit of like whew. So even though we've got the Uranus energies happening and all the other things going on, I think we're starting to hit our stride a little bit better now. So yeah. All right. Thank you for doing that. What is our gentle card? Christine, I'm going to do your questions first. Joyous. So this week to come is going to be joyous. I love that. All right. So let me just double check what is happening in there. So we had one question and two questions. And then we have Tamara and then Amanda. Okay. Alrighty. Let us. Oh, Amanda, you sweetheart. Thank you. All right. Question 1. Let's see if I can understand it. Stratus I hired for my roofing. Will I need to let my boyfriend watch them like a hawk to do the job correctly? Question is, does your boyfriend actually know what the fuck he's doing? That's just brought back some very funny memories for me regarding my second husband and his dad. His dad loved to supervise, and especially when we were getting work done on our house, and he would get his little sticky beak in there and he would try to make our builder do things that we hadn't approved, and we wanted to do things by the book, whereas his dad was a little bit of a penny pincher, penny saver type person. And yeah, and he also didn't really know what he was doing. So yes, Christine, let us see what the pendulum has to say. So show me the yes. Show me a no. Okay, come back to neutral. So truth. What will it create if Christine's boyfriend watches the roofing people like a hawk? It's a very clear no. It's not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. The people you have hired, let's just quickly ask. So, truth. It's the roofing company that Christine has hired. Are they going to do the job correctly? Yes. And if you don't trust them, get an inspector in. Like, if you want to double check their work, get an actual paid professional inspector to inspect their work. Family is for, yeah. Because the thing is that your builders might fuck up because your partner is there watching them and, just being an inconvenience and making them feel uncomfortable. It's a very gaslighting, narcissistic thing to do. I know it as a tradie. Having my clients watching me like a hawk while I'm trying to clean their fucking toilet is not comfortable. It's like, just piss off, leave me alone. I'll do my job and I'll do it well, but you do not need to stand over me like you're my fucking master. Go away. I don't say that, of course, because I'm nice. But it's like, don't do it. Observe from a distance, check in, do it in the nice sort of southern way. You take a tray of drinks to them and have a quick look around while you're there. Get them to just gently explain what they're doing so that then you can go, oh, wow, I had no idea. Use it as an education moment, not a, I'm watching over you because I'm your fucking landlord, boss, ruler of all kingdoms. Blech. Gross. All right. Question number 2. Is the reason for bleeding due to low estrogen? Do I need to do a biopsy? Interesting. Let me have a look at that. Okay, show me a yes. Show me a no. Exactly, Amanda. See, Amanda agrees. She says, I always created more mistakes when I was being looked over instead of supported and trusted. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So truth, is Christine bleeding due to low estrogen? Okay, come back to neutral. Truth, is it required for Christine to do a biopsy? Mm-hmm. From your questions and what we have asked, it's a very light yes for the biopsy. Also, just be aware that when you put yourself under a lot of stress for a long time and you've got a lot of cortisol running in your system and you're sitting in that sympathetic and dorsal system a lot, it's going to fuck up your cells. It's going to create dis-ease, not disease, dis-ease, which is where your cells go from lovely plump and round to being oval and misshapen, right? So they're not functioning well together. And so just be aware of that too, and that you might be, this is your body's way of talking to you, and it sounds like it's actually really screaming at you right now. It sounds like you're going to have to make some pretty significant changes in your life, and maybe this Uranus energy is going to be exactly what you require to get that moving along. So thank you, Christine, for your well-worded questions, always enlightening as always, and so grateful for your continued support here on Find You Fridays, and I look forward to catching you next time. Thank you. Melinda says, I find when the boss is near me at work, I make mistakes. Yeah, absolutely. We all do. It's like you try too hard. It's like I can be like so good in my driving, but as soon as like a family member is next to me, oh my God, next thing you know, I'm fucking stalling the car, I'm bunny hopping, I'm doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and I'm just like, what the actual fuck happened to my driving? I don't do this when other people are in my car or when I'm by myself. And of course, when you don't do it by yourself, you've got no proof that you don't do that. So it's like, oh man. Oh dear, so funny. All right, Tamara, let's have a look at see what yours is having for you. Yeah, with being a cleaner and stuff, the old nonnas, oh, they love to fucking hover. Oh, it's all right if they want to chat to you. Like, in some ways, I've gotten used to that, but man, oh man, they do. They like to hover, and then they don't necessarily tell you, but they will bitch about you later. If you haven't done it right. Sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll pull you up at the time. Oh, actually, can you get that? It's like, that's fine. Of course, no problem. Or actually, I haven't got to that yet. It's okay. You know. It's like there was one lady, she wanted us to, before we'd done any of the dusting or wiping down or anything like that, she wanted us to sweep the floors first. That was the first thing she wanted done. And I had to explain to her, it's actually better if we leave the floors till last, because otherwise, if we sweep the floors first, and she didn't really want to use a vacuum, if we sweep the floors first, then all the dust and things that we have that will drop down from our dusting and our wiping and all will drop onto the floor. But the only way that will then get picked up is with the mop, which just kind of spreads around. So that's not great. And also, can I use my vacuum when I do the floors? Oh, dearie me. Sometimes you have to sort of manage their expectations a little bit differently, you know. But you certainly know when the old nonnas are floating around, and they'll just quietly just do. And you're like, oh, hi, you okay there? We will definitely be doing a meditation tonight. That's already started brewing back there. Started earlier in the show, so that was nice. I love it. Love it when that happens. Cool bananas. All right, just to acknowledge the cards that have come through for you, Tamara, is Ina Segal's Secret Language of Your Soul. Amanda, top to bottom, pretty much how we should deal with ourselves. Surface to inner. Yeah. Also inside out. But yes, top to bottom. It's the cleaner's philosophy. The only time that changes actually is on a hoard declutter, hoard clear out, because you can't work from top to bottom often. You actually have to work from the bottom and then up and then the bottom and then up and then bottom up, because you've got to clear your way forward, and you can't do that until you've cleared some stuff from the floor. And then for actual cleaning, yeah, definitely normal cleaning, you know, do your cobwebs and all that sort of stuff first, and then. But yes, some people, they don't always see it that way, and that's okay. It's all right, you know. It's all right. All right. Interesting, Tamara. Interesting. We have lovingly speak your truth. Vulnerability is strength. So obviously, as we become more secure in our inner selves and we feel safe, our ability to be vulnerable and use our words becomes a lot easier. So I would very much be looking out for you for those moments where you kind of perhaps prevent yourself from speaking up, and have those, like, have a little bit of like a self-check going, All right, so why am I not speaking my truth right now? Is it because I know my truth is actually a lie? Because we do tell ourselves lies a lot. Or is it because I'm in people pleaser mode? Or is it, and with that, I don't want to hurt other people or stuff like that? Or is it because if I actually speak my truth, I will seem weak, or maybe I'll upset someone? Or just have a look for those and just be aware of how you're using your voice this week. And please know that if something is crunchy, it's crunchy for a reason. It doesn't mean that you have to be quiet about it. It also doesn't mean you have to, shout it from the rooftops and be a bitch either, because that's not being emotionally mature. I've been watching, reading, listening a lot this last couple of weeks about being emotionally mature versus emotionally immature. And one of the things is if you're in interactions with people and with an emotionally immature person and you raise your voice, you've lost. That's it. Because now they've got you. Because now they can blame you. So I was just like, that's interesting. And in those times where I've been interacting with very immature, emotionally immature people, when I very calmly say, what exactly do you require of me? If they're coming at a point like trying to attack me or whatever, they often don't know. And they're like, it's like error 404. You're like, okay, well, hey, you just get back to me when you've got an answer. That would be great. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely day. We'll talk to you later. Or not. But also when it comes to you and your desires and what brings you happiness and peace, and you find yourself not expressing that, have a look why. Do a little bit of digging and lovingly speak your truth to yourself. First and foremost. Your next card is Explore Your Feminine Aspects. Flow with Life. Hi, Sonia. So one thing that is coming through this is having a look at, and I'm sure you're probably already aware of, like somatic yoga, and particularly stuff that's to do with your hips, the lower back, where you've got perhaps there's a bit of emotional stuff stuck there. Also have a look at Ina Segal's book for sacral, like your sacral chakra area. And what I'm getting with this is like there's some stuff sitting in that area, some emotions that are ready to come out. And it's like, be gentle with yourself, speak lovingly to yourself, and let it flow. Let this feminine energy flow for you so that you can finally move forward with that stuff. Whether it's doing what I've done, journaling, using those other processes, the healing modalities that I've learned over the years, or and that's something else that you know and know how to work with, highly recommend it. Movement is a really great way to do it. I saw today a practice, which funnily enough I do anyway quite often in the mornings, and I'm realizing perhaps I require to do it in the evenings, is like you lie on your back and you sway your knees from side to side, like with your legs bent, and you sway your knees from side to side, just gently. And then you can pop them down to one side, and then you lean the other way, like look the other way, and then you just turn it back this way. But it's not necessarily about stretching. It's about allowing the movement of energy. And then the other one was putting your feet into butterfly, and then very, very slowly, I can't do it in this position, but anyway, very slowly. So you got your feet in butterfly, and you very slowly bring your knees up, and then you let them do what they want to do, and they'll quite often shake quite a lot. I have actually done a little bit of work with that in a group setting. And yeah, there's a lot that can shift just from feet together and gently, very slowly bringing your legs up, and your thighs will start shaking, and then your hips will start jiggling, and your belly and everything. And if you just, like, even if you set a timer for, say, 4 minutes, 4 or 5, I'm hearing 4 minutes, so I'll trust that, 4 minutes, and you just sit with it and breathe deeply, just that one exercise, that will help a lot, move a lot of this energy through from the feminine side of you. Rest and review your path. Assess what is and isn't working in your life. So again, if we come back to the lovingly speaking your truth, it is about looking at what are you preventing yourself from saying, that if you said it would actually give you the most beautiful opening to your femininity possible. That's a lot. It's time to start writing down things. Look at the things that aren't working in your life, not just what is working. Look at both sides, and maybe put your deal breakers list on your vision board. Enhance your relationship, your intimate relationships at that. Deeper connections await. So maybe truth is what I'm seeing with this is that there is a possibility of a intimate romantic relationship sort of out here somewhere. Hence the reason why it's awaits. And this is kind of like your beautiful team is dangling the carrot for you to say, hey, we do have this person floating around that's waiting for you, but you got to do your groundwork, and you got to create that really nice solid foundation, a bit like what we're talking about in that initial reading, right? The group reading. You've got to have that beautiful foundational work. We've spoken about this before in other readings, like of making sure when you go to build a garden, and you've got to have all the right the nutrients, including, funnily enough, blood and bone and manure and all of that sort of stuff. It's all got to be mixed in there in the right ratios. And it's a bit like when we do our healing work, it's literal, it feels a bit like you're digging up your entire body sometimes, and it feels tenderized. I know, I've just had 2 days of it. But it's all in the effort of creating a space which is the most kindest and most nurturing, not only for someone to come into your world, to enhance your peace, to enhance your happiness, to be that support, to hold space for you, to be the whatever else is on your beautiful list or vision board. It's also about that super deep, intimate relationship with yourself, and knowing exactly what your specifications and expectations are. And it's like when you're building a garden. See, I'm not a green thumb, and yet I still know certain plants like certain soils. So, for example, in relation to people, if you've got someone who is a hardcore adventure enthusiast, gym junkie type person, and they get together with a homebody who really actually fully enjoys being at home, doing home stuff, maybe playing games online or whatever, those two people are not going to work. You know, and it's like if you plant some people in some plants in certain soils that aren't right for them, they're not going to work, they're not going to thrive. So it's that thing of becoming what you would like to welcome into your world too, which means digging down, getting through those belief systems, looking at the things that are tripping you up, looking at your patterns, your habits, your things that have cropped up in the past, and looking at why they're there. And also, I wish to acknowledge, I know you do this. And that's incredibly brave that you do, because a lot of people won't. They just come, they get readings, they're just like, oh, that's nice. And I'm not saying that you guys here do that, because you're all far too wonderful for that. But I've seen on other reading shows, you get the serial people who will just jump from reader to reader to reader to reader, and they're asking the same question across everybody in the hope that one of them will say, no, you're doing amazing. But every single one of them says, hey, you got to do some work. You got to get your head out of your ass and go do some work. So I know that you do this already, and that's fucking amazing. And it's going to have to keep going just that little bit deeper. Just a little bit deeper. There's something a little cracking open that's got to happen there. That's just gonna, and once you hit that point, maybe that book is what's going to do it for you, like it did it for me. Like one of the exercises that I ended up doing for myself, using that as inspiration, but it was looking at, like, I ended up realizing I have finally found my purpose in life. I was like, oh shit, that's the thing. And it's about creating peace and ease. So that is literally my purpose in life, is to create peace and ease. Now, the funny thing is, when I told this to my dearest friends, they were like, yeah, duh. Of course. Why didn't you realize this? And I'm like, I don't know. I've just been doing the thing, just trying to keep going. Like, I didn't realize it. That was the thing. That's my purpose. Now, the cool thing is about creating peace and ease is it comes in all sorts of different ways. And so what I did is I started writing a list of, how do I create peace and ease at work? How do I create peace and ease with my friends? How do I create peace and ease with myself? And initially, when I started looking at myself, I wrote, I think, one thing, and then I walked away. It made me feel so uncomfortable. It made me feel quite bleh in the tummy and stuff. And then I was like, no, come back to this. And when I sat down and I wrote like half a page on ways that I create peace and ease for me. And I'm like, wow, holy moly. I don't know if I've written a list of how I create peace and ease for a partner yet. That's interesting, isn't it? But anyway. This last card could very well be part of the key of what is preventing this lovely person from moving into so you can see him. Amanda, duh, indeed. Oh dear. So you said he's been floating around for a while now. I haven't met him yet, but I know he's around. Just waiting for me to shift those last things within me, and it's that feminine release stuff. That is what my vision board is for me. It's a love letter to myself, a reminder of all the things I need to achieve within myself so that I can attract that same energy. Cool, cool, cool. This little card here, I think, might have a little bit of a key for you. Might. And it says, use your anger. Inner fire sparks outer action. So look at the ways where you feel a lot of fire within you. Look at the spots within your life where it's like, oh, you know. Because for a long time, the family stuff for me created so much fire in my world. It was in my brain, it was in my heart, it was in my bones, it was everywhere. And then I just got to a point where I was just so super neutral about it. But it was more that I had just quietened the flames, chucked them down to like a very, very quiet smolder. So yes, have a look at where you're angry. So I think you may have these cards. So 25 is that last one. Let me have a very quick look. Yes, she has an exercise to do with this card and a visualization. So I would highly recommend you do that maybe a few times, not necessarily all on the same day. Maybe I'm getting 3 days in a row. Do that exercise, do that visualization, and see what shifts, what awarenesses that you gain, and write them down. Do the healing journal. Highly recommend it. This is coming from somebody who's not a journaler. I highly recommend doing a healing journal. And the other funny thing that I found when I was writing in my journal is I have been putting all sorts of things in there. The morning songs that I've been waking up with, glimmer moments when they've happened, just all the things, because it felt right. And the other funny thing is like when I die, and if somebody finds this and looks at it and goes, oh, wow, check this out. Check out the progression that they had. That's well worth it. You know, they might get inspired too. So I don't have a problem with other people seeing my healing journal. It's all good. Yeah, so 25, I think, was that last one. Yeah. Do the process. That's what they're telling me. Receptive. Team up with your team. Allow them to support you. Bring them in. Surround you. So often when we are dealing with repressed anger, it's scary because we don't want to think about ourselves being explosive, nasty, you know, all the ugly ways we talk about anger. And yet it is part of us. So it's that tamping down of that anger that is preventing your most compatible partner from coming in, because they can't come in while you're still holding on to that stuff. So you're going to have to work on it and let it go. We'll move through it and look at whatever belief systems are attached to that anger. And, you know, even it can even be just, oh, where did I put the book? Oh, there it is. So I'll just, yes, becoming a bad person because you're angry. Like, that's a childhood thing. Good girls don't get angry. Good girls don't have tantrums. It's bullshit. We do. Adults do it all the bloody time. Has anybody seen road rage? That's adults having a bloody tantrum. But thank you for your donation. Before I carry on and read some of, I'm going to get vulnerable with you all. Oh, you haven't, oh yes, we did do that. Cool. So I'm going to get vulnerable for a moment. You said it's one of the things I'm not being honest with myself about. Yeah, I get it, because it's so funny. It was how many years ago now? Several years ago, probably right back at the hardcore part of my healing, spiritual, metaphysical journey, probably about 10 years ago, and or coming up 10 years ago. And I realized that I was not receiving from men, and I wasn't receiving from women either. And that was sort of the beginnings of me realizing how angry I was. But I had this big, beautiful mask of bright and bubbly. Everybody thought I was just so bright and bubbly all the time. And inside, I was seething. I was seethingly angry and resentful and just in so much pain internally. Like, not on a physical sense, on a spiritual, internal love sense. Because I was so abandoned. Like I said in my thing before, I was emotionally marooned, and I'd emotionally marooned myself. So I didn't trust anybody, least of all myself. So that was a big journey when I think about the amount of anger I have released over the years. Thank God for energy healing. Thank God. Because these days, anger feels really weird in my body. Really weird. Yeah, when it does crop up, I'm like, oh, where the fuck did you come from? But okay, let's roll with this. This is where we're at right now. So, yeah, you have to learn to love that part of you. Love your anger. Love your ferocity. Love your passion. Because really, that's what anger is. It's passion. Because if you weren't passionate about it, you would be angry about it. Yes, the rage cage. What a lovely terminology. So, some of the belief systems that I had functioning at the start of this week. Now, bear in mind, I have cleared these belief systems previously. This time, however, in between last time and this time, I've had a lot of life stuff happened, which has reinstituted some of these belief systems. Some of these belief systems have also come attached to the stuff around family for me. So while this body of work was taken from a relationship course that I did back in 2021, it's still relevant for me for dealing with the family stuff. So I believed I was unworthy to be loved. Gosh. And even that one there was like, when I muscle tested on that one, I went, oh shit, yes. My beautiful soul sister, is one of the things she has said the most to me this year is, please remember, and even towards the end of last year, please remember that you are actually easy to love. Because she knew, she could feel that I had this belief that I'm unworthy to be loved. Oh my fucking God. Like, so aware. I love it. I believed that I needed to punish myself for all my past mistakes. That no one will love me like I want to be loved. I had no idea I had this functioning, but sometimes you don't cognitively realize that they are there. But I muscle tested and it came up positive that I felt, or I believed that I needed a man to feel financially secure. And in some ways, I think that's probably was true, simply because there was those sneaky little thoughts of resentment, because my God, I'm having to do this fucking life on my own. If I just had a partner that would be able to share the load, like, I wouldn't feel so like, ugh, all the time. So that's where that was coming from. I had a belief that I attracted the wrong men, that I'm afraid to fall in love. Interesting, right? Now, remember, I had this belief system functioning saying family is not safe. So if I fall in love with a man who then becomes family, it's not safe. So therefore, I'm not okay to fall in love. Fear of being lonely and alone. I had love ends in heartache. I can't be loved by family or a partner. I can't attract mentally stable men. I believe that I'm abandoned. I believed I was a victim. I don't generally cognitively think of myself as a victim, but there we go. It was functioning there, so we had to let it go. I also believe that I must be in control to survive. And of course, when you're in control and believing that you must be in control to survive, it's very hard for you to accept or receive help from others, or even ask for help from others. So, and that, like I said, that's when you're sitting in your sympathetic nervous system or the sympathetic vagal system, because you're constantly thinking, nobody else can do it as good as I can. So why would I ask anybody else for help? And when I tap into that space, I see my mom. Oh my God. And then instantly I'm in compassion for her, for the fact that she was so often, particularly after mum and dad split up, so often hovering between sympathetic and dorsal. I see it now. And I think, God, you had 3 kids and you were trying to do all of that with the pressure, perceived pressure of trying not to fuck it up, because we lived in a teeny tiny little village at this point and everybody's watching. So my mum was constantly living with the threat of being reported to the children welfare people because, what if she wasn't doing a good enough job? She was constantly afraid of that. So that's why we weren't allowed to have people in our house. We weren't allowed to have friends over. If we wanted to have friends, then we had to go see them. Because if she was deathly afraid that if any of our friends came over to our house and saw something that was out of place or whatever, you'd think that would make her a neat freak. It didn't. It made me a neat freak. But yeah, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, right? So this is all the stuff that I've been working on. And if you want to know what my new belief is now around family, I am now able to receive love from my family and others. It is safe for me to do so as I am stronger and wiser in love now. So does this change the behaviors of my family? No. However, what it does do is it changes my response to that. I am stronger and wiser in love now. And this means that moving forward, family for me is no longer a threat. So therefore I can have a partner in my life that isn't a threat. Yay. Or I don't make them a threat in my life. Yay. And that's just moved some because I just burped. Amanda, amazing, deep and raw. This is the kind of stuff we all need to share with each other. This is the stuff that helps us all get through. If only everyone would be so real and raw. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. It's part of how I create peace and ease. It's the thing that I was judged the harshest for growing up, because I was always asking questions. And that was one of the things that was asked for me as a journal prompt of like, when do I feel safe or unsafe or unstable or sort of like not well in my body sort of thing. And yeah, it was when I was speaking up. And obviously I've done a lot of work on that so that I can be here and do this with you guys. But I've realized over the years how important it is to talk about the things that nobody wants to bloody talk about, especially emotional development type stuff, this healing type stuff. It's incredible, like, how many people don't know that any of this is even available and that it's possible for them to have these changes too. Like, I'm not that unique. I've just made choices that has meant that I've been able to pull these tools in together for when I needed them, when it was important for me to move forward, So grateful. So grateful. I did that course back in 2021. That cost me over $5,000 to do that course. So glad I did it. After that, I followed on and did the Theta Healing Basic DNA course, which was 2-3 day course. I can't remember how much it was. And, you add that, it's probably, I'm looking at maybe around about $6,000 all up. I think it was around, I don't know, $800, I think, for the basic DNA, $600 or $800. I can't remember now. It's so valuable. This is all tools that I've been able to gather into my world. This is why I want to share it, so that, like, obviously I'm not going to sit here and do full-on healings with you guys in specific individual healings, because it's not that kind of space. And that's why my online healings are so fucking cheap, because I believe it should be accessible for anybody to do. And if I can make the things like what I'm going off to counseling right now, and that's part of the tools that I'm using right now to keep myself on track and to not shy away from this hard stuff. If I can make that work, surely other people can make my prices work for them too. You know, where we can start diving into the stuff. Now, I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment in that most people wouldn't be or a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that much work in 2 days and come out okay at the end of it. But thanks to my experiences and the way that my body processes very, very, very quickly. And I know where my limit is. And I also know that other people's limits are much less than mine. So on a normal 1 hour session, I might only be able to get through a couple of those processes. Yesterday, I did 11 processes in an hour. And that's why my brain was mush afterwards. But it always feels good when it's mushy. Nice and light and fluffy. I was still able to drive safely, so that was good. But yes, it's part of the way I create ease. I love sharing information. I love learning and I love sharing information. And if I can do that from a personal perspective, all the better. Anyway, happy days. Amanda, my love, what's your question? What is your question for me and your team today? Is funny actually. Back, I can't remember when we did it, but I hosted a 3-day body class with two very good friends, and I ended up. Most people got paired up, just 2 people. I had I ended up in a group of 3, and over the 3 days we got through 13 body processes over 3 days. Everybody else got through 6. So like I said, I was with 2 very quick moving people as well, and we flew through these body processes, and it was just so good. And it's very indicative of how I am as when I do healing and you know, stuff is cropping up in my body. Like if you guys remember back in May when my back went because it was finally releasing the injury that I had done back in February. And I said to the physio, I warn you that I do process things very, very quickly. Because he's like, well, your treatment plan, standard treatment plan would be 2 sessions for 6 weeks. And I'm just like, yeah, I probably won't need that. Given how much relief I've had off of the first session, like probably won't need 6 weeks of this. And turns out I was absolutely correct. It was 2 sessions, 1 week, done. Oh dear. Okay, what does your soul wish for you to notice this week? Interesting question. I like it. Yes, of course, Amanda. I can ask the pendulum. I do love a good energy burp. Energy burps are fun. They can hurt though sometimes. One of the things that surprised me about the rejection list was that I suddenly realized how much I had rejected myself. And that surprised me. I was like, because I just muscle tested on it. I didn't try to go into it too hard. I didn't think about it too much. I just asked my body, so truth, have I rejected myself? Or I believe I reject myself. And it's like, yep. And I was just like, oh, wow. And of course, it makes total sense. Like, because every time you do, like, you people please and you do this, oh my God, you're rejecting yourself every single time. Silly. Okie dokie. Now I know why your team chose the Heal Yourself Oracle, Miss Amanda. Because you've asked, what does your soul wish for you to notice? And that's a very different question. Right. Water. You're gonna laugh when I read the first one to you. It says, unleash your creativity. Your creative talents and abilities are your most powerful assets. Allow your imagination to roam without limits and access new ideas without judging them or yourself. It's time for you to be innovative and birth unique creations. If you're feeling stuck, get up and move. Try new things, meet new people, read books, paint, and so on. Concentrate on the area of your life where you require to be creative. Are you a great singer who requires to share your talents with others? Do you have an affinity with gardening? Can you tell powerful stories? Are you technically minded? Can you whip up amazing meals? What is your special flavor of creativity? Whatever it is, give yourself permission and the time to be inventive. The more creative you allow yourself to be, the more fulfilled you are going to feel. Yes, exactly. Keep writing. Practice makes perfect. And actually, in actual fact, it doesn't matter if you're perfect or not. Because you can have a lot of imperfectly perfect, right? And one of the things that is really beautiful about what's happening in the world of social media and stuff at the moment is that a lot of people are, not that I necessarily agree with the AI stories, you can always spot them because they've got like a long dash within them. So watch out for that. But the beautiful thing is that people are reading these stories these days. Whereas for a while there, it was just everybody was just watching videos. And that was all, and then reels and shorts and then watching videos, blah, blah, blah. People are actually starting to read those long stories again, which is fabulous. That's great. we're actually starting to lose their brains. So doing these creative endeavors, which include writing, it's perfect timing. Perfect timing. See, I told you you'd laugh. Your next card is number 20, which is family and tribe. Be very discerning with other people's opinions. Become aware of how the beliefs of your family and tribe are influencing you. What did you learn about relationships, money, and opportunities when you were younger? Ask yourself, am I still carrying some of those outdated beliefs? Am I trying to seek love and approval from my family by doing what they want me to do? An important question to ask yourself is whether you are living your life in order to make someone else or yourself happy. This card asks you to examine your loyalties, family beliefs, superstitions, and rituals that have power over you. Let go of anything that is not serving you. You are also being asked to face your fears of being different and embrace your uniqueness, even if others don't understand or approve of your actions. Working often with your energy centers, in particular the root chakra, can help you release past limitations and hurts, increase your confidence, and help you manifest your desires into physical reality. That's a good one. And that also includes the opinions of others around your writing. I can now say it because you posted someone on the Facebook, so yeah. Be aware that sometimes people will say things, and because we are so sensitive to other people's opinions, especially when we have that little bit of anxious attachment style functioning, somebody may say something that maybe they don't mean to be harsh, but because of our anxious attachment style, we go, ugh! And it kind of throws you off. Don't do that. Just like, my soul sister has the most beautiful way of handling that sort of thing. And she's like, thank you ever so much for your opinion. And then she might put like a little love heart or something like that there, and just, that's okay. It's like you're acknowledging them, you're saying thank you. And the other thing is it allows them to then go, oh, hang on a minute. You're not in resistance or reaction to what they're saying to you, and you're not letting it affect you. So it's like, it's okay. People are allowed their opinions. They're allowed their opinions of your work. They're allowed to think whatever the fuck they want. You can't control that. And you can't allow your perceived fear of I'm just trying to word this correctly, perceived fear of someone else's unspoken thought or opinion to stop you from loving you and your work and being creative. There was, I've been watching a little bit of Mrs. Fisher's Murder Mysteries, and one of the episodes was talking about this guy who was a painter, and he unfortunately got murdered because another painter was jealous of his work and the accolades that this guy was getting. And also because this guy painted nude models, and the model actually turns out to be Mrs. Fisher, who he then tries to, get jiggy with it, and then he gets jealous because the first painter, who's actually very good at his art, still wanted to have her as his model. So anyway, and the thing is, this guy didn't actually get famous and start earning money off of his work until he died. Like, it was just at the point of getting a lot of recognition, and then the second painter murdered him by pushing him underneath the train. Anyway, don't let other people's opinions push you under a train and make you stop doing what makes your heart sing. Okay? I grew up thinking I was stupid and knew nothing because of family, and that's made it extremely hard to finally trust myself and believe my own truth and stories. I hear. I know. I feel that. And that's why family and tribes coming up to say, please, do the work to release that shit. Get that belief system out of your system, because it's not true. And the longer you hold that lie in your heart and in your belly, the harder it's going to be for you to feel confident moving out into the world and actually doing this stuff. Okay? And saying that, it's not impossible. You can still do this stuff, but it will be harder. It's about making peace with it. A lot of people go, you never really let it go. And I'm still like, I don't know. I think you do. It depends on which modality you're working with. If you're using Ho'oponopono, no, you don't let it go as such. You make peace with it. It's a part of you. It's a part of your journey. It's a part of whatever lesson that you had to learn. And that's okay. With theta, we literally force it out of our system. We get creator in there and we fucking suck that shit out of there and replace it with a new one. And then we put feeling downloads through there as well, just so that you can make triply sure that everything is clean and clear, never to return to you again. Hence the reason why my brain was mush after 2 days. All right, the next card. I'm learning my smarts, and my parents' smarts are completely different. Yep, and that's okay. Indeed. My mum is not emotionally intelligent. She's book smarts, but she's not emotion smarts. She's not spiritual smarts either. And while I have not the same level of book smarts that she does, I'm smart in a lot of other ways that she's not, in sort of book smarty ways. But yeah, and I'm emotionally intelligent. And I'm obviously more metaphysically and spiritually intelligent. That's the beauty of it, right? Sometimes the families we choose is to teach us or show us the pain so that we won't choose it for our own lives. And hopefully we'll be able to not pass that on to the next generation. Fun times. This little old life, which moves us into cycles. Life is cyclical. Sometimes things flow and at other times they slow down. What cycle of your life are you in right now? What is the one area of your life where you require to focus most of your energy? Is it time for you to focus on your family? Do you require alone time to discover your true purpose? Do you yearn to open your heart and love fully, deeply, and passionately? Is this the time for healing and regeneration? Maybe you are completely ready to enthusiastically concentrate on your life purpose and put all your energy and effort into making your dreams a reality. Each cycle you encounter offers you fresh gifts and possibilities to learn and grow. The better you become at identifying the cycle you are in, the more flow and harmony you will experience in the choices you make. Yeah. Being in the flow, man. You have the most perfect and beautiful possibility and space to do this. I think that's more of an acknowledgement of you are able to do this. Please don't waste it. Don't just really make the best possible use of this time. because it is special and it is a unique time for you. This cycle that you're in now, where you're not doing a 9-to-5 job, where you are traveling around and you're seeing the country and you've got this amazing supportive partner next to you, and you're conquering your fears and you're doing the things that make your heart sing. Like, these are all things that are so fucking special, and that the fact that you're doing this all right now in your life, holy fucking shit, amazing and so special. It's a privilege. So your team is just like, please make good use of it. And I'm also getting that sense of, like, just given what the other cards have said, they're also saying, please don't let your past trip you up. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. You're braver than that. You're way braver than they are. And it's a good thing. Oh, I love this card for you. It's beauty. Recognize your inner and outer beauty. You are beautiful, unique, special, and attractive. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt good about what you see? Did you know that your features can literally change based on how you feel about yourself and your life? Your internal experiences are etched on your face and your body. People can feel your energy when you enter a room. When a person who is not thought of as being physically good looking connects to their own inner light, wisdom, and warmth, the glow that emanates from within makes them extremely appealing and attracts people and opportunities towards them. Focus on what you love about yourself and allow yourself to shine. If you are challenged by how you see yourself, this could be the perfect time for an internal and external makeover. Yep. So just have a little moment to do some mirror work is basically what she was asking you to do, and allow yourself to ask yourself how to nurture your internal beauty. Do you allow others to see your light, your caring side, your kindness, and your warmth? Ask your body what it requires to feel healthy and taken care of. This could involve changing your diet, having a new exercise program, updating your wardrobe, getting a new haircut, blah, blah, blah. Give it to yourself. I get that that's a lot about self-confidence too. And the more you let go of the belief systems around your family that you've picked up from them, and possibly even your schooling as well, the easier it will be for you to see your own beauty. And once again, we have the word sacred as your yummy card. Because, as I said, this time is sacred, it's special, and so are you. What a unique, beautiful, wonderful experience you are having right now. Well done on creating that, co-creating that, and enjoy. So, your question. Okay. Yes. Please show me a no. Come back to neutral, please. So, truth. Does Amanda require to get the mark on the back of her left shoulder checked? Okay, that's actually going around in circles, which is a maybe. So I would say, just to be sure, yes. If it comes out to nothing, cool. But it's a maybe. So it's definitely not a no, but it's not a yes. It's a maybe. So it's kind of like things could swing either way on that one. Thank you for being here, Amanda. Thank you for being a part of Find You Fridays. Thank you for your love and your support and just being here. I'm so grateful, and obviously super grateful for the kind donation and keeping things flowing along as we do. So grateful for you. And yes, it is time to see your beauty because you actually shine fucking bright. I completely concur. Oh dear. All right. I wish I knew how to turn that one off for a Friday. I have an alarm, a little that goes off at 10:30 at night. That's like my sleep time alarm. And I keep forgetting to turn it off on a Friday. But I also don't know how I've got it sitting on a Friday, because I thought I'd turned it off on a Friday, but apparently not. But I also don't know where it's sitting because I have a different alarm for other times, but there's a 10:30 one. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to find it. Technology. I'm too good for myself. Anyway, let me drink some more of my tea. All right. Time for meditation. Tonight we are going to be doing a meditation around planting the seeds of confidence. It's one of the things that is a running theme I see amongst many of us. And quite often, as I've talked about tonight, it is the confidence of just knowing your truth and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome of it all. And before I do my meditation, I will share with you a bit of a long poem, but it is a poem that I wrote today. So enjoy this, and hopefully you're still with me when we do this meditation. It's called Not for the Faint of Heart. She sits with her silent tears, stomach clenched, jaw glued shut. She's tried all the things, trying to fix, trying to talk, trying to be reasonable, trying to just let it wash over her. In doing so, she stopped caring about her tender heart, about her waistline, about her peace and her happiness, until something cracked. That last little verbal jab, the judgment wrapped up in a compliment, the words without any substance, the realization there was only one choice left: to choose her peace, her heart, her happiness, to see her trauma, heartache and shock, to sit with and release her outdated beliefs, to send it all with unconditional love, to be cared for by Creator, to release her from the pain, to free her from other people's ideas that she had so fiercely made her own, and finally, in that tender state once more, have space in her mind to see the truth of her, to feel safe within, to feel confident, to fully acknowledge and create, not negotiables, out loud and proudly. She has found her voice at last, and no one will be allowed to disrupt her internal peace again, least of all herself. For the reality is, she chose this over and again and again and again, until she realized enough is enough. With only one area of life unbalanced, the others showed the way, the possibility for life, the harmony of safety, the bliss of love and support. And finally, she got it and cleaned house. The clutter of the mind, the debris of the heart, the storage containers in the belly, and the iron cage around the spine. With the love and support and encouragement of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Hestia, father, granddad, grandfather, grandma, and daughter, through tears and a raw throat, the energy released. A brand new way forward was forged. The human meat sack tenderized over and again for 2 days until it was done. Breathing deeply, no more tears to be shed, just a bath lovingly drawn with bubbles to soothe and gentle company to enjoy creating. And for the first time in a long time, she sleeps peacefully, safe, secure, confident, with a twinkle in her eye that says, I have returned. I wrote that today while I was at the beach, enjoying the looks of the waves and the air. And it basically, as you can see, just takes us through the journey that I've been on for the last couple of days. So with that in mind, I'd like you to close your eyes now, relax your shoulders, breathing in deeply. And now as you breathe in, bringing earth energy all the way up through your body, out through the crown, and now breathing out, bringing Father Sky energy all the way down. Breathing in, bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. Allowing that breath to go all the way to your bottom of your belly. And as you breathe out, bringing Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. And now become aware of your body. All of your cells and molecules, all of your internal organs. Allow yourself to yawn if that's what's required. It's just releasing all of that beautiful energy, giving yourself some space within. And now expanding out your awareness in a big bubble all around you. Expanding up into the sky and down into the earth, with you in the center. Expanding out your awareness bubble out beyond the size of the country that you're on. Out beyond the size of the planet. Out beyond the size of the solar system. Expanding out your awareness out beyond the size of the galaxies. And now out beyond the size of the universes. Taking a big deep breath in. Relaxing your shoulders and your back and your belly and your legs, all the way down to your feet and your hands. Just allowing everything to just drop into peacefulness. Once again, focusing on your body, grabbing your sense of allowance and expanding that out in a big bubble up into the sky and down into the earth. Remembering that as you expand out your allowance, you go from being that tight, contracted little pebble at the bottom of a raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which you as a beautiful, empathic being are so very aware of. And as you expand out your allowance, you become like a big fluffy cloud where you can float above that raging river of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and you can see it for exactly what it is. It's just energy. And you don't have to be a part of it. You can be aware of it and allow it to just keep floating on by. Much like the channels on the TV, you can just float on by, click to another channel. You don't have to indulge in everything. And as an empathic person and an aware person, you do not have to be aware and then engage in every energy you feel and are aware of. That's why we expand out your allowance to be greater than your awareness. It gives you back your control, your choice, your strength, and your confidence. So expanding out your allowance in a big, beautiful bubble up into the sky and down into the earth. And all around you, expanding out beyond the size of the planet. Beyond the size of the solar system. Beyond the size of the galaxies. Expanding out your allowance beyond the size of the universes. And now out beyond your awareness. Taking a big deep breath in. And out. For this meditation today, we're actually going to head up to Theta so that you can know what it feels like to be surrounded 100% by infinite unconditional love. So now imagine that there is a big, beautiful light shining, big, beautiful, bright, white, opalescent light shining into your heart, down your body, down your legs, through your feet, down into the center of Mother Earth. Curls around the center of Mother Earth, moves all the way back up, through all the crystalline layers, grabbing all the energies that you could possibly require for this healing, for this meditation. Coming up through your legs, through your torso, through your heart, up through the crown, where it creates a big, beautiful bubble above your head. Now imagine that you're inside that bubble. And now you're floating up higher and higher. Through the dark light, through the golden light, through the rainbow jelly light clouds, and the pink misty clouds. You'll see a big opening There's bright white opalescent light streaming through that opening. Follow that light through the opening until you're completely surrounded by the bright white light. It might feel like you're standing underneath the sun, and the sun's warm rays of unconditional love are shining down all over you right now. Please take a big, deep breath in. And breathing out. And as you breathe out, the bubble around you dissolves. Breathing in all that unconditional love that is all around you right now. And breathing out. For now, you are part of the unconditional love, and the unconditional love is a part of you. Now I'd like you to imagine that in your hand, cup your hands in front of you, and imagine that within your cupped hands there is a seed in front of you. And this seed has the potential and the possibility of growing into something very great and strong. It has all the confidence in the world that you could ever possibly desire, all within that teeny tiny little shell. You see all of this potential, and I'd like you to now flow some unconditional love from all around you, down from your heart, through your arms, through your hands, into this beautiful little seed. It'll stay a seed for just a little longer. And now I'd like you to imagine the seed is now wrapped up in all of this beautiful unconditional love. This seed of potential and possibilities filled with confidence, joyousness, and peace and harmony. It's all in there. Now I'd like you to imagine slowly and gently bringing that seed towards your sacral area. So between your hips, above the base, and as you gently place your hands palm inwards onto your belly area, the seed becomes a part of you. And as it hits this beautiful, rich soil of your life, of your body, because you have Mother Earth and the unconditional love flowing all through you. You have Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone flowing all the way through you. You are completely 100 infinitely surrounded by unconditional love from Creator. You are the perfect medium for this possibilities tree to grow. You can see the roots are starting to come down through your root chakra, through your legs, all the way down through your feet. You see those roots, and they are strong roots. There's no wishy-washy about them. They know what it takes to hold this level of confidence and tenacity and brilliance and incredible goddess energy. Or the king-like energy if you're a male. You observe the roots as they continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger from this teeny tiny little seed. And next thing you know, the shoots are coming out the top. Just one teeny tiny little one that very quickly branches out over your belly, all the way up through your heart space. And as it hits each different chakra center, it's like fertilizer for this beautiful tree of possibilities and confidence. Coming up through your heart space where it gets bolder and brighter, being fed by this beautiful unconditional love from Creator and Mother Earth and Father Sky, spreading out to move up through your throat, down your arms, up through your brain. The leaves of your tree are your gifts to the world. What do your leaves look like? Are they jewels? Are they bright and shiny? Do they look more like nature? Do they look more mystical? Whatever they are is perfect for you. Embrace that. As your tree continues to grow stronger and stronger, you feel the confidence radiating out through every single cell and molecule of your body, allowing you to redirect any judgment or pain or heartache that anybody has ever directed towards you, or even you have directed towards yourself. Redirecting that energy into the root structure so that the roots of your tree can use that energy for good. That energy, all those judgments, all those belief systems that have hurt and harmed and sent you into shock, trauma, and heartache are now being pushed down through your legs into your root system and back up, right up through your core, up through the trunk of this tree and coming out through the leaves as beautiful gifts of enlightenment, of wisdom, of love. Where you now feel so strong within yourself that you can't even fathom not being this anymore. The tree of possibilities is within you, and you are the tree of possibilities for you. If there is anything in your body, any belief systems, any points of views that you're struggling to let go of right now, see if they can be moved through the tree to be used as beautiful fertilizer allowing you to then feel gratitude for them, for feeding your tree, for feeding your confidence, for feeding your possibilities. Just give you a little moment to enjoy the feeling. You might be getting a few messages right now. Messages from within, messages from Creator. Maybe messages from your team. Whatever it is that you wish to create in the world, the possibilities are within you now. The strength is within you now. The confidence is within you now. And any fears that you had are being redirected dynamically to become energy, to feed rather than harm. To feed your strength and your possibilities and your confidence, your tenacity, your joyousness, your peace, and your happiness. Imagine giving yourself a big, big hug with absolute gratitude. And now rub your hands together, palm to palm, and do an energy break with one hand on your palm and the other one pushes away from you, palm out. One palm on your heart, the other one pushes out. It's an energy break. Thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. And now we're going to float down through the pink misty clouds, through the rainbow jelly light clouds, through the golden light and the dark light, all the way back to your body. Now imagine that you're standing underneath a big, beautiful crystalline waterfall, and the water is flowing over and through your beautiful body. And as you look down into the big pool, it's crystal clear, and you see the gorgeous face looking back at you. And you can see the little twinkle, the hints of your possibilities tree behind your eyes. And you become instantly aware in your physical body right now of your confidence that has grown exponentially, second by second, and continues to grow, so that you may welcome in all the things into your life that you've always desired. Stepping out onto the big warm river rock, You feel Mother Earth, the warmth of Mother Earth underneath your feet. Please take a big, deep breath in. And breathing out. Breathing in, bringing Mother Earth energy all the way up. Breathing out, bringing Father Sky energy all the way down. Breathing in, bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. And Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. When you're ready, please open your eyes. Please remember to have some water now. Whenever we do energy healing, you might feel like you also require a little bit of salt. But please hydrate at the very least. And until next time, please get out there. Do something nice for yourself. Do something tasty. Do something nurturing for yourself. Whatever that might be. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for loving you. I am so grateful and appreciate you. Until I see you next time, be bold, be brave, be you, my beautiful friend. And I'll see you next time.